Hello and welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're diving deep into a story of treasure, empires, and legendary wealth. When you hear Spanish silver, what comes to mind? Sunken galleons? Pirates? Pieces of eight? For centuries, this metal was the engine of the global economy. And for just as long, we've relied on historical texts to tell us where it came from. Legendary, almost mythical mines in Spain. But what if those legends are only part of the story? What if we could ask the coins themselves where they were born? Well, thanks to a field called Archaeometallurgy, we can. And it's completely rewriting the history of silver. So how does it work? It's all about something called isotope analysis. Think of it as a permanent, unchangeable fingerprint, but for metal. Every ore deposit in the world has a unique ratio of isotopes. Think of them as slightly different versions of an element, like lead or silver. This isotopic signature is like a geological made-in stamp. When that ore is mined, smelted, and turned into a coin, that fingerprint is transferred to the final object. By analyzing an ancient coin and comparing its fingerprint to a global database of mines, scientists can trace that metal back to its exact origin. It's metal detecting on an atomic level. One of the first legends to go under the microscope was the source of silver for the mighty Roman Empire. History books told us that Roman Spain, with its giant mining districts, was the main supplier. And while those mines were important, the isotope evidence paints a much bigger, more complex picture. When scientists analyzed Roman coins, they didn't find one dominant source. They found silver from all over. Spain, yes, but also the Aegean and even northwestern Europe. More than that, they found evidence of mixing and recycling. The Romans weren't just digging silver out of one hole in the ground. They were master metallurgists, running a sophisticated continent-spanning supply chain, blending metals from different sources to meet the empire's insatiable demand for cash. The idea of a single legendary mine is a romantic myth. The reality was a complex industrial network. Another common assumption was what the silver was extracted from. For a long time, we thought it was almost all from a single type of lead ore called galena. But again, science is revealing that ancient miners were far more clever. New research shows they had a deep geological knowledge, identifying and exploiting a whole range of other silver-bearing minerals, like sulfur salts. In one region, they even figured out how to extract silver from a complex iron sulfate called jarosite. They weren't just looking for the obvious stuff. They were skilled prospectors who knew how to unlock silver from rocks we previously thought had none. But perhaps the most dramatic story these atomic fingerprints tell is what happened after 1492. When Spain began mining in the Americas, particularly at the legendary mines of Potosi in Bolivia and across Mexico, an unprecedented flood of silver hit the world. Historians call this the price revolution, a period of massive inflation in Europe fueled by this new world wealth. For a long time, the evidence was economic, but now we have the physical proof. A groundbreaking study analyzed the isotopic signatures of Spanish coins minted over 200 years. And the results are crystal clear. European silver has a totally different fingerprint from American silver. By analyzing coins from different kings, researchers could literally watch as American silver took over Spain's own currency. Coins minted before Columbus were purely European metal. But by the reign of Philip V, just 80 years after the American mines were in full swing, the European silver had been almost completely washed out of the system, replaced by silver from Mexico. It's a stunning, tangible confirmation of a pivotal moment in global history, written in the metal itself. So this new science of archaeometallurgy is doing more than just fact-checking old legends. It's giving us a richer, more accurate history. The story of Spanish silver isn't a simple tale of treasure from a single source. It's a complex narrative of interconnected trade, sophisticated technology, and dramatic economic shifts that we can now read directly from the atoms of the artifacts left behind. We're debunking myths and discovering the far more fascinating truth. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.